Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePaola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, good Saturday morning to you. Welcome to another edition of Florida Talk Real Estate. We got you for the next 2 hours of infotainment. Pleasure to have you along. Thanks for being with us, 92.1, 101.7. We salute you, the old terrestrial radio. Maybe you're on your free download, your iHeartRadio app. That'll make you worldwide. That's right. You can get anywhere in the whole wide world and tune in to 2 hours of infotainment on a Saturday. And, of course, we live stream every Saturday as well. If you're on with us out the gates, thank you very much. Otherwise, remember, you can always join us live streaming on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. Find us on YouTube as well, Florida Talk Real Estate, LLC. Home of a ton of informational chunk videos and our live stream every Saturday morning. Of course, you got a toll-free number if you'd like to be a part of the program with your questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate. You want to dive into the conversation? Dial it up, 877-927-6969. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire. May the 4th be with you, my brother from another mother.
May the 4th be with you also, my friend. Good morning, gentlemen. Happy to be here.
Pleasure to see you as always. Let's get our starting lineup. I'm your boy, Johnny C., your air traffic control. The very important people. Start with Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. May the 4th be with you, Ross.
May the 4th be with you as well.
Pleasure to see you as always.
You too, man.
We got Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. He's all stoked about the May 4th celebration.
Mm-hmm. See, you brought your lightsaber with you too.
I could nice. See it in your pocket.
When you first said it, I was like, didn't we just do this? But then that was 420. So now it's the 4th. Maybe, yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess they go hand in hand.
I guess
I'll be firing it up today.
Different things. Why am I connecting those two things? I don't know why.
I don't, because they're a global celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, may the 4th be with you.
Well, thank you,
my son.
Always nice to see you. And of course, we got Jimmy D, our fearless leader. 12 plus years now, I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovations. Here's my guy, Jimmy D. Jimmy D, may the 4th be with you.
Hey, may the 4th be with you. I forgot about that day. I know 420, but not the 4th.
You got to be a somewhat of a Star Wars dork to even like kind of hang on to it and anticipate it. If you don't have a little bit of Star Wars dork, you're like, oh yeah, it's May 4th.
They're actually not connected. I don't know why I made that connection. I might have confused Jim.
Here's how bad it was when Star Wars came out originally, right? I think it was 76 or 77.
That sounds about right. I want to say 77.
I was working up in St. Augustine with my dad, who was building a project up there for a company, a bunch of oceanfront condos. So we lived for like 3 summers on the beach in St. Augustine. It was awesome.
That sounds rough.
And I was like in the 7th through 9th grades or something. It was awesome, right? And I'd work construction the day and then go hang out by the beach.
And Star Wars came out? Like, talk about it.
Well, my dad took me to Star Wars downtown in St. Augustine. They had small theaters, at St. Augustine in 70s. And we watched the whole movie. And when we were done, I remember thinking,
what?
Yeah, I did not like it. I was like, I just didn't like it.
Huh.
And you know what? I still watch. I don't watch most of them anymore. They're all the same. The plots are over and over the same thing.
How
over
dare
and
you?
over
I'm
again.
leaving.
I just get so tired of it. No, I get tired of it. It's like the Marvel. Now the new thing's the Marvel thing. They're all the same. All those plots are the same.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
wow. I have lost so much respect for you in this fleeting moment.
I used to be avid movie guy. I would go to everything, and I just got tired of it. It's like it's just too.
You're even on the like you dove in with A New Hope episode 4, and we're like meh. Huh. Wow.
Yep.
Which was groundbreaking.
And I was so
they had to invent all of the technology as they were filming it.
Yeah,
like they created the technology as it was happening.
I just loved how it was relatable. They had a trash compactor in space, Jim, right? You remember that scene?
I enjoyed Spaceballs way more than Star Trek.
Yes,
geez.
I would say that.
Spaceballs is amazing.
If
and
you
just
want to
said
talk
Star
about
Trek.
it, that was much more.
Your opinion just totally got wiped out. Everyone's like, oh, now it doesn't even really matter. Star Trek.
I'll take Mel Brooks over George Lucas. I'll take him.
Do you remember that? Did your dad did you guys go to the movies often? Like, is there another movie you saw year that was like, oh, and this was amazing? Because
Last Unicorn. He loves the Last Unicorn.
When did Jaws come out? Was that around the same time?
Oh, that was I was in the 6th grade. I was in the 6th grade because that was my first date. The first date I ever took a date on was to the movie theater. I took Cheryl, her name was Cheryl, to the movie theater. And remember the part where the guy, Richard Dreyfuss, is underwater and he's diving at this boat that was abandoned. And then he goes underneath the boat and a guy pops out with his eye popped out of his head.
Put your move on?
No, she got so scared that she threw her arms and popcorn in the air and she hit me in the mouth and I had a bloody lip.
Nice.
Memories.
So I remember that.
It's indelible. In the
First date, bloody lip.
So what year was that?
I was 6th grade.
6th grade.
Yeah.
I know, but what year? I don't know.
Oh,
Was
I
it
don't
before
know.
or
I
after
was
Star
a
Wars?
freshman in 77. So what was it? 70,
Okay.
75.
75.
Yeah, so a couple years earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to get an idea of what Jim was watching at the time.
Right.
That, like enjoyed.
The coolest memory I have of Jaws, and I love that movie. I've seen it 1,000 times.
Great movie.
We got the opportunity, as did many if they took advantage. During COVID, they actually showed Jaws in Hard Rock Stadium. We drove in the stadium. They had it all laid out. I remember they searched all the cars for bombs and stuff. Yeah. In the stadium, parked on the field, watching Jaws on the big screens.
That would be pretty cool.
It was
That
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
It was really
cool.
Yeah.
Was
And
the,
They should do that
sound
more
system
often.
Good?
Like
It was good. And I'm with you, Ross. It's like, this shouldn't just be, I think people would soak this up. And the price point was absolutely perfect.
I wonder
It's
how
like
how many
$25 or
cars you
something.
can fit
Like-
into the stadium. Like how many? Were
It
you
was a fair
actually
amount
were you parked inside the
In-
stadium,
on the
not in the
field.
parking lot?
on the
Wow.
field. They laid like that, those plastic connectors down, kind of
Oh,
like
I
they
was
would for
wondering.
like concerts and stuff. 'Cause you don't want to destroy the field.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
And they designated little
Pretty cool.
parking spaces, and it was still like total distancing. They wouldn't let you get like too
Yeah.
close to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was, I mean, it was like total COVID time, but
Yeah,
it was freaking awesome.
yeah.
Well, they had
And
to
I'm with Ross.
figure out
100%.
how to
I would love to go to a
keep the
drive-in.
revenue flowing.
Yeah, but
Right?
like, revenue, a little opportunity to do some things for folks, a
Yeah.
little hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
so
was
Jaws was 75 and episode 4 was 77.
77.
Jaws was 75.
75. That's
Oh,
what we just said.
Jaws.
Yeah.
I thought I was thinking Star Wars. I
Nope.
was like, wow, it was way off. I was like, wow. Okay, cool. Anyway, happy South Florida,
Ooh,
everybody.
movie talk
I'm
on
glad.
a
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, I love talking about
I will
that kind of
admit, along the same lines, when they re-released episode 4, right? So the first, we'll call it the
stuff. I
first
get so
one.
confused with that.
When they
Digital
re-released
enhancements.
it, we I forget what year it was, but it was a group of buddies went and saw it, and we pre-gamed, and I fell asleep during the movie.
Yeah.
So so it wasn't enough to keep me, it was a late night one, right?
True,
So-
but you'd seen it probably
yeah, a bunch.
a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the novelty was already
But
gone.
we were all excited to go. Like
Yeah.
it was like the buzz around, everyone was going, and then
right. See the
You know.
digital enhancements.
Yeah.
See, what I liked about Jaws was that it was completely different genre. It was like, you didn't see anything like that except for like Moby Dick, maybe, when it was book was written way back in the day.
Oh, that totally changed
So
things. Yeah.
But anyway,
Made people scared to swim in their pool.
yeah, exactly, right?
Literally.
Exactly.
you know what
Yeah.
else probably came out right around that time was Alien,
Great
Mm.
movie.
right? 78, 79.
Yeah, that was probably 78, 79, I think. Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that one was good. I didn't have a problem with that.
Okay.
one.
You didn't come out of that one
Yeah.
like ho hum. I don't think you
But
could.
I didn't like the ones after it because it was the same thing over and over again.
What?
Okay,
Oh, here
you're
we
on
go.
the thing. Yeah, come on.
Oh, great.
Come on.
Alien threatens
Usually,
You didn't even
the-
like
the-
Prometheus?
the world,
I didn't even see that one.
Oh, you should see Prometheus.
After a while, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Oh.
Now move on to something other story.
How about Alien versus Predator?
Nah,
You
I
should.
did watch it. I watched
That's
it,
a
but
good
I
just waste of an hour and a half.
Now, you saying, Jim, are you saying Aliens?
no Alien.
No, Alien is the first one, then
Right.
Aliens. You're saying that one was repetitive? Like,
Yeah,
you
to
couldn't
me
deal
that
with it?
was a very similar to the first one.
Well, it's kind of the same issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane. You're on a stranded ship and some monster's trying to get you.
Oh,
Okay,
my.
didn't I see that last year?
It's like, yeah,
Sorry, guys.
it's Romeo and Juliet all over
I
again.
guess I'll accept your apology.
No, I'm saying sorry, guys. Like you guys are sorry. I'm not apologizing.
Oh no, we'll take your apology. That's fine.
Jim just hates the standard story arc, right? Your
Yeah,
protagonist, and then
I'm the
you're
rebel.
Yeah,
I'm the rebel. Gotta do
Total
things
contrarian
different.
over
right?
here. Oh, you
Yeah.
like that? I don't.
A couple of shout outs wanted to do. Been a busy couple of weeks for the Florida Home Pros with Keller Williams and also everybody else in this room. Jason, congratulations to Jason and his mom. Jason is under contract, just got through the inspection yesterday.
Nice.
So we're going to be closing with Mike, and they're going to be using Ross for the insurance.
Beautiful.
Now, here's an interesting thing. Jason came to us because he needed to buy a place for his mom. And he had a budget that was about $100,000 more than what we bought the house for.
Beautiful.
Who hears that nowadays, right?
Right.
So, and this is at a very affordable price point because he's buying in the threes. So he got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a den that could be converted. Oh, wait, I'm thinking of somebody else. Wait. No, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. No, I'm sorry, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a really nice extended porch. And he got that house at the second lowest price over the last like 14 months, 15 months in that neighborhood. And this is going to be tying into something that happens later. One of the reasons why we got the property at a very good price is the market shifting. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later because I think people are going to be a little surprised as some of the indicators. And I see that the marketing in South Florida, not the national market, is starting to soften up a little bit. And I'm starting to see the soft spots. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Brian, I wanted to give a shout out to Brian. Brian,
And congratulations to you, by the way, because I know you did some negotiating to get that to the level that they.
Oh
they
yeah,
wanted.
that one we were going back a bunch of times. I don't like talking about the negotiation part till we close.
I understand.
but we are gonna be talking about that because I think there's some teachable moments there. Wanted to give a shout out to Brian, who is former law enforcement and public safety. So thank you for your service.
Yes.
Brian's hired us to sell his house in Madison Green in Royal Palm. I'm really looking forward to getting that house sold. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with the den. That's what I was saying before. I was getting confused with the other house. It's 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a den, but it's listed on the county records as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And later when we sell Brian's house, I'll explain to you why that is created some struggles for him. And we're going to show how we solved it when it happens. So that house will probably be going on the market next week. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with the den that could be converted into the 3rd bedroom. It's got a really nice screened-in back porch. Of course, Madison Green, Royal Palm is a great area, right, Mike? You live right near there.
Drive by it all the time.
Yep,
Sure.
It's a really great neighborhood. Great school systems over there. Depending on where you're in the neighborhood, you can walk to school, depending on which school the kids are going to. And really looking forward to getting that house on the market next week. So thank you, Brian, for trusting us. And that was a referral from Pete Walsh from Walsh Painting and Contracting. If you ever need an excellent contractor, give us a call. We'll get you to Pete. Thank you, Pete, for doing that. Also wanted to say a shout out and a thank you to John. John's been a big time listener to the show for many, many years. His mother recently passed, so I'm sorry for your loss. But it's time to sell the mom's condo. There's an estate probate going on. So they turned to us. I met with them last Saturday. We took the listing a couple of days ago. We'll be putting that house, the condo on the market very, very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, we have a house on the market. We put it on the market about 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. This is a property in Plantation, Florida, in Broward County. It's a really nice 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage with a pool on the lake, non-gated community, no HOA fees, really good central location in Broward County, excellent neighborhood. And we got that house on the market for $650,000. Now that house would normally be worth at least $825,000 to $850,000. But the house is 1977 everything. Okay. So everything's functioning fine. The roof's okay. The roof isn't 1977. The roof's okay. We believe we're going to have a person come out to do a useful life report. Thank you, Ross. We're going to use one of the people that you referred us to. And we're going to see how it goes. I'm sure that will be fine. But we put it on the market 3 o'clock yesterday. Woke up this morning. We had 3 showing requests already for today.
Sure.
So that property, a lot of people are going to look at it. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because somebody's going to have to go there, and make
Update
it,
it,
modernize
redo some
it.
stuff.
Yeah. But somebody that wants to do that, the Bones in this neighborhood is great. It's funny when we had the cleaning people and we got like a got junk company come out and pull some stuff out, which I helped the family do because this also is an estate sale. So they're up in New York. So I'm handling everything for them down here, including the cleaning people. And we had to tent the house for termites, and we had to get a got junk company out to clean everything out. We did all that. And what was really cool was when the service workers came in, 2 or 3 of them actually stopped in the middle of the house and said, "This is a really nice layout." And so I know that the house will go. So who is this house for? If you, in this neighborhood, a lot of people are paying in the high 7s to low to mid 8s. This is at 650. So this is a person that wants to get into that neighborhood, into that location, going to pay lower than everybody else, but you're going to put the money into it eventually. But now you'll have like depending on how much you fix it up, you could have like a brand new house with a new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, new paint, and have it in really great condition and be what everybody else is paying for like resale houses that aren't brand new everything.
Right.
So that's the value add for whoever wants to do that. So
Might be a good, I would say 203K. The price point's a little high for that FHA program, but there's similar conventional loan programs where you basically can.
the construction loans.
Yeah, it's like a remodel type loan. So you have the loan to acquire the home, and then you have a kind of like a second loan, although they become one at the end, but a second loan for the remodel fee or the renovation fee. So I do those types of loans for conventional as well. So
yeah,
maybe something. And the trick is usually like, is the home priced sufficiently below
it is
market value to allow space for those improvements?
Yeah.
Sounds like you got, 150,000 of equity potentially.
Well, that's why that's why I priced it the way I did. If I put it up in the 7s, we were thinking at like 700 flat. I feel like at that price point, there's going to be a lot of people out there that could buy a house that would be in better condition, if you will, at that price point. So I put it at this lower. I think we might have a bidding war and it might go up a little bit. I don't know. I got my fingers crossed.
Did you do it at $699, $999?
No, we did 650 flat. We don't
okay.
do the 999s anymore. We don't do the 9. Although I'm seeing a lot of 188 and 588s. I guess 188 is, I think if I'm not mistaken, I did this with one couple.
I think that's a number you can call for.
Oh, yeah.
No,
888
those other 1999s.
One couple I met with, they were super religious, and in their religion, I don't even remember what religion is. 188, if I'm not mistaken, 188 was the symbol for God. So anytime they wanted it, and it was during this is 10 years ago, 12 years ago when the market was really bad. So we had to adjust the price a couple of times, and every time we adjusted the price, we had to end with 188 in the price, or they would change the price in order to make sure there was a 188 in there.
Nice.
Yeah. So some people like
I had
believe in that lucky stuff.
I had a refinance one time. This is way back, probably 10 years ago.
I think I remember this.
Well, I don't know. Just, it was similar vein. Like there was some sort of weird thing, but she had to close on a certain date, and she was going through her book, and we were trying to figure out what's a good close date for you. And she was kind of like looking at the astrological calendar to make sure she wasn't closing. I remember the words Mercury and retrograde. I don't know if
you can't sign contracts during Mercury retrograde.
I think that was our case, Mike, if I'm not mistaken. I think Scott was.
It was a refi.
It was a refi?
Yeah.
It was one of our agents went through that.
Okay. But maybe it's a thing. I don't know if she said that or if I twisted that story in my head or not, but it was something along those lines, right? That she couldn't close. And this week I had to, and she's like, oh no, the week after, that Thursday is fine.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, yeah, but then there's a rescission period, right? You have three days after signing on a cash out to change your mind. And that pushed things a little bit. So
I really want to wait 3 weeks because Saturn's ascending. So
listen, but these are the things you have to find early, John.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You gotta find them out early.
Yeah.
Maybe
last minute, like maybe I can't close today. Like what?
Maybe when we sit down, instead of just asking how much do you own the property, how old your roof is and stuff, we should say, what's your astrological sign?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you're a Libra moon. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, great. We're good right now, but we got 3 weeks. Yeah. Right. Something's going into retrograde. I want to give one more shout out and then we'll get on to other things. I want to give a shout out to Hugo. Hugo's been a longtime fan of the show, and we helped him buy a restaurant back in the day last year.
Fort Pierce? That's
Yes.
what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, and I called him a couple months ago. He's doing on that specifically. He was doing so good on that restaurant.
That's
I'm
awesome.
so happy for him.
Yeah.
That guy is so smart. He knows nothing about restaurants. So what did he do when he went in there to take over a restaurant that's been around 30, 40 years? So it's like a breakfast diner up in Fort Pierce. It's called Mickey's. And it's been, or Mickey's, and it's been around for years.
Oh, if you've driven up US 1,
yeah, you've seen it.
You've driven right past it. Yeah, you've seen it.
And the reason why he bought it is the city is actually trying to, it's grandfathered in to stay, but eventually it's going to have to go. So really, he just bought it for the land, but he figured, he thought the restaurant was going to be a headache. But the guy's sharp. So what he did was he noticed that there were tons of employees that worked there that had been there slinging hash forever, right? So he sat down with them and he said, I'd like to keep y'all. What do you need in the restaurant to make it operate more efficiently? So he bought some equipment that they were asking for. He made sure that all the employees were taken well care of, right? And he says he's doing very well on profit in that store. And he really didn't, on that restaurant, he didn't really think he'd be making profit on it. He thought it would be a buy and hold kind of thing and then just help pay the bills. But it's doing better than that.
Yeah, nice. So it was established as a pretty good spot to get some grub. Yeah. What can ruin it is a staff that's just not dependable or not happy to be there. Good on him to be like,
he was so smart.
Let me make sure my staff just shines because the food's going to sell. We're good. And now they're just prospering massively because he invested a little bit to make his people happy.
So now he's on to his, now Hugo's on to his next adventure, which I really respect him. So right now he's selling 5 acres of land in East Fort Pierce. It isn't too far east. It's near US 1, but which makes it very desirable. A lot of these 5-acre tracts that are for sale are very far west near the Turnpike and 95. This is very close to US 1. It's 5 acres of land. We have it on the market for $550. It's owned residential. We've had a bunch of calls. We've only had it out this week. We've had a bunch of phone calls on it. David Stein, one of the people on our team, who also helped Hugo close that restaurant deal. I couldn't have done that without David. David was really the force behind all that. He found the restaurant. Well, actually, he didn't find it. Hugo found it, but he was able to work it out on our commercial division. So David, thank you so much. And now he's trying to sell the 5 acres of land that Hugo wants because Hugo wants to buy another piece of land somewhere else to do something else with it. So thank you, Hugo, for trusting our team to find your next property and to sell the property you got right now. So thank you so much.
Yeah. And if you're looking for a team, remember you have a team of pros at one spot. It's beautiful. The one-stop real estate shop. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Find us on Facebook and YouTube as well. The socials are available for you, but FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. Pros. Get them all at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
I've been talking about how South Florida is going, and Florida in general, but South Florida specifically is going through all this demographic changes and everything. We've been talking about that. One of the other changes in Florida is we're the golf capital in the world. That's what they're thinking, but we have so many empty golf courses. More and more, and the reason
golf capital, we're the sailfish capital. There,
sailfish capital.
We got the croquet capital here in Lake
Didn't know
Worth.
about that one.
Yeah,
croquet.
What else we got?
Polo
capital.
Polo, of course. Yeah, polo.
Yeah.
Highlight.
Right? We're cleaning the highlight.
See, you guys talk about that. This is what I say when we're in the capital world: mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, identity fraud.
That's slowing down.
Well, we're gonna talk about that too. But yeah. So Florida, has always been known as a golf state, and it still is, don't get me wrong, but a lot of golf courses have shut down over the years, and they're just dormant, and they're just laying there. Some of them are totally overgrown.
I think all the golfers have switched. I think their pastime now is hanging out on corners and over bridges just waving flags.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that
they're everywhere.
They're saying that
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I didn't know this, that there's less golfers than ever before. There's just not as many people golfing now. And there was
ever?
Huh?
Maybe since Tiger was young.
What do you mean? Less people?
Well, when Tiger was coming up, golf.
That became a big
popular.
surge. Yeah, maybe we're going back to the normal levels if I'm understanding what Mike's saying. Kind of get back to before that. But what's happened is Margate now is another city that has agreed to convert a golf course into townhomes. They're building 132 townhomes on this golf course in Margate. It was a very controversial decision. Every time these things come up with whatever city it is, because I remember selling a house about 5 years ago for a couple. They moved to Central Florida. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. But their backyard was a golf course that was dormant. And they were going to, there was talk that they were going to turn into development. And then the people that bought to be on the golf course, like to have the golf course in their backyard, they feel like their property values are being damaged. So they would go to the city saying, don't approve this project. You're hurting us. But it becomes, to me, looking at from the outside, I understand and I feel their pain because they bought something. Now it's changed and it's out of their control. But at the same time, do you really want to fallow, an empty golf course in your backyard that nobody's using? It's just growing and growing and growing. That can't be a good value either, right? A defunct golf course in your backyard. So anyway, Margate decided to go forward with this project. The mayor voted against it, saying that he felt that we need more green space and that this is just taking away more green space from the county. I don't kind of agree with that part, and only because it's so expensive to keep a golf course going. A lot of water is used for golf courses. That's one of the reasons why golf courses haven't been
at some
popular.
point that golf course, that one in particular, just stopped making money, right? So they
but
had to stop.
There's tons of them happening all over, and it's been going on for years and years.
I mean, Johnny lives near one. They converted it into Veterans Park.
Yeah, I was going to say what they should do is just convert them into more usable space.
Your backyard used to be a golf course?
I mean, not far.
Really?
Veterans Park.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Used to be a golf course.
And all around Commons has the space for it, too. I mean, they just it's usable space now. They have the Frisbee golf course for sure. But, yeah, they could convert that into usable space. And if the community embraces it, it's wonderful versus just nothingness.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they have to convert it and use it for something. I agree.
I think you have to consider housing as well. I mean, there's just
housing we need it so
housing,
bad.
So,
we need it so bad. So just thought that was kind of interesting. Before we take the break, I want to wrap up with City Place. So this is what reminded me. Remember City Place?
Rosemary Square?
No,
the Square.
The Square.
The Square. Sorry,
yeah. Get it right.
My bad.
The only other company or brand I know that has changed their names more than us. They still didn't beat us, but they're close, right? They've had 3 names. I've had more than 3 names. Okay, so now it's called City Place.
Oh, is it really?
It rolled back to City Place. It's
back.
officially
Really?
Stephen Ross decided to bring it back to City Place.
Oh.
So it started off the City Place. Then they changed it to Rosemary Square. Then they changed it to the Square.
The Square.
And now it's back to City Place again. So back to City Place.
was
I'm
always
so happy
City
because
Place
I
for me.
always called it City Place.
What was it before it was City Place?
It was slumps.
Hood.
I covered it all the
Okay.
time as a reporter. So that whole area, that's why I'm kind of excited in a way about what's happening over there, because they're putting another $300 million into City Place right now. Stephen Ross is. They took out the comedy club. Not too happy about that because I love the improv over there. But I think it's moving out closer to you, Mike, that improv. But they tore down the improv and something else, and now they're putting in a mixed-use tower, and they're continuing to expand City Place, which I think is an excellent idea. And what they did, Mike, is back in the day, they eminent domained a whole big chunk of land over there that was very blighted and very rough,
Sure.
high crime area. And then they turned it into City Place, and all around City Place, you'd be in City Place, and when it was first built, brand new, shiny,
Walk across
everything
the
was
block.
great. Go a block away, you didn't know what was going to happen.
Right. Now it's a couple of blocks away.
Now it's a couple blocks
That's
away.
how it was. We first moved here end of 2005. And so City Place was there, and it was kind of like a spot to go hang out.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember, like, one block outside of it, and you're like, whoa, this.
Don't stay right in here.
Yeah.
Right.
I drove down. I can't believe I can't remember the name of the street because it's so famous for being a high crime street. So you take
Tamarind?
Tamarind. Thank you, Tamarind. Thank you.
We had
Thank you, everybody.
World
in
famous.
unison.
Yeah, it's like Tamarind. Thank you. You're right. It was 100% Tamarind. But I drove there recently. Now, as a crime reporter, I have to go there all the time, right? I haven't been up there really to drive all of Tamarind in a long time. But when I went up there, it's still super rough. There are a lot of rough looking people over there that when you're driving through that neighborhood, you're hoping, please don't have a stoplight. Please don't have a stuff like this. You don't know what's going to happen over there. So it's still kind of rough over there. So this expansion that they're doing, I like the idea of it.
And it's back to City Place. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
So it's all cool. City Place again. And I'm happy because I never changed it. I've called it City Place ever since. I hate it when people corrected me too. No, it's called the Square. It's like for you.
Yeah.
For you.
That's fine.
So they're sinking hundreds of $millions in there. It's going to continue to grow. The reason why they're bringing it back to City Place is they say that is the best description of what this area is. It's a place where you could live, work, and play, and enjoy all in one spot. And that's why they decided to go back to City Place. So good luck with that.
And some of the websites were never even updated, so they're fine. They never.
Yeah, they never even changed it around.
The county sites are fine.
Yeah,
they're like, finally.
Yeah, it just kind of cycled through. You're like, look at that.
Get that old letterhead back in play.
Sometimes problems just resolve themselves.
They do. Yeah. That's my method usually. I just do nothing and see how it works out.
Eventually, it'll iron itself out. The only other thing that reminds me too of all the name changes, especially being in this business all these years. Right now, it's I think Financial Amphitheater. How many things have many sponsorships have they gone through over there? Of course, Dolphin Stadium as well. Hard Rock stuck pretty good though for a while. But
you mean Joe Robbie,
too, right? Didn't the Heat Stadium that changed names?
That's
changed
a couple times recently because and again I can't remember the old one, but they went with the XTS or FTX, and that thing went belly up.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, so Amarant, where the Panthers play, that's gone through a couple sponsors. It's different when it's a sponsorship.
It is funny what you choose to call, like that's BB&T for me.
Yeah,
it always will be.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's Coral Sky. I'm sorry, I think it's always Coral Sky. It will forever be Coral Sky.
Wasn't it the
perfect
vodka,
bar, music, sound advice? I mean, we can keep going.
It's Candlestick and Joe Robbie.
Yeah, exactly.
Candlestick still stands. Yeah.
I remember when
that stadium.
I think it's across the street. Like I think it's a parking lot now, but still.
With before Daniel Snyder bought what at the time was the Redskins, it was Jack Kent Cooke owned that team.
Oh yeah,
and they built the stadium, and we called it. It was Jack Kent Cooke Stadium, right? We called it the Cooker. Right?
Okay.
The Cooker. I think so. I'm trying to think like when did they start
RFK,
naming?
Right?
Yeah. When did they start? It was RFK before.
Oh, before the Cooker.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's old RFK Stadium.
Really? Oh wow.
So, what point did they start? Did somebody figured out they could sell the sponsorship, right? Make some good money.
Oh, I'm sure it was an Al Davis or a Jerry Jones type that was like, boys.
Yeah. When did AT&T hop on to Dallas?
Put a sticker on that.
It was when they built it.
When they built that right from the beginning.
Yeah,
from
it was
that
branded
stadium.
right out the gates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yep. Hey, speaking of which, I just and we won't stay on. You see, Chicago's building a new stadium too, right across the street from where the old one is, and they're going to make that a museum. The field, they're going to have a couple different things there. They're going to open up.
Yeah, they're replacing Soldier Field.
Yep, they're going to take one end is going to have a big museum. Then where the two big pillars are right now, they're going to remain and do some interactive type of stuff in there, and then they're going to put like ball fields and stuff like that. What is now the current field?
Bears.
And the biggest problem that right now that people are saying is there's going to be a problem with parking, but because now it doesn't look like they're really addressing that too much.
They should just park in the stadium.
Yeah, or just dump them all right in the lake.
You can do that too. Yeah, it's right there on the water.
Yeah,
it looks a lot like SoFi, from the inside, but beautiful. Looks like
you can't please everybody all the time.
No, and I understand it's probably me just longing for the days of past. Like you can't let that historic building go. They're gonna be so happy with new digs.
Now it's all about like the experience.
Yes.
Of attending the game as opposed to like, oh, dude, we're gonna go to Soldier Field and watch the Packers play,
and it's gonna be indoor.
The Bears.
So I actually here's a quick little story about Soldier Field. I moved to Streator, Illinois when I was 20. I spent my 21st birthday in Wyoming. Me and my buddy drove to Illinois from California with my dog. And I lasted, we were either going to go to Spokane, Washington, where my dude's grandparents lived on the lake.
Right.
We were coming to Fort Pierce, Florida, where my grandparents lived. Or we had a buddy in Streator, Illinois, who just lied through his teeth. And he's like, man, you're going to love it here. And we chose poorly. I lasted like 3 months. His first words when we got out of the truck, I'm sorry I lied to you guys. First words, not how was the trip? You like the snow? I'm sorry I lied to you guys. Yeah, I knew. So
how close to Chicago is Streeter?
Streeter's probably hour and a half, 2 hours from Chicago, maybe ish. The closest town is Peoria.
What was he saying? What was he telling you? That
He's
was so
just
great
like,
about it?
there's everything to do. You guys are gonna love it. It's in it. When we got there, when we were driving, so you go through Iowa and Nebraska, it's there's all fields. You're like, can't even tell we changed states. That's where we were in Streeter. It was just like bean fields, cornfields. I got a job washing dishes, and people were like, "That's a great job." I was like,
good job.
I'm gonna hang myself.
Right.
I think the worst decision of my life.
You're lucky.
Yeah. So 3 months.
What months was it?
So I spent my 21st in.
You went there for your 21st.
So I spent my 21st in a strip club called the Lamplighter in Streeter, Illinois. We
Yeah.
did New Year's Eve in Wyoming. So we left January 1st, really. I mean, December 31st. And then
what's that tell you when Wyoming is more exciting?
Yeah. And then I lasted 3 months. So my birthday is in February. I think we're out of there
January,
like
February, March, April.
Yeah.
The worst months winter wise.
It was just the worst decision, just in all. So me and my dog, right? We got to get back home. My great grandmother sends me.
You left your buddy?
We were getting 3 months. Yeah, my dude stayed there for like another. He ended up. He's with his wife and kids. Like he found a life that he moved to California. Totally different story. So me and my dog, we're jumping on this plane, and as we're going to the airport, my dude's like, "Let's just swing by Soldier Field." I was like, "All right, let's do that." As we pull into Soldier Field, there's a big like gate tunnel, and it's open, and there's nobody there, and we see the field.
Huh.
We're like, "Well, let's go." I mean, what's going to happen?
Give it a shot.
We are on the field. There is nobody there. My dog's running amok on this field.
Oh,
my dog actually took that like last pee in Chicago right about where Walter Payton broke the rushing record.
Okay.
Right about. And I still have this hunk of bluegrass. I took a big chunk of the Chicago painted blue in the end zone. Now it's this small little petrified hunk of just blue. But I know that's Soldier Field grass.
Wow.
It was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's not good. It's gone now. I mean, it's not going to be there anymore. But when I was on that field, you could feel the history. Like as you're walking through, you're like, my gosh, it's thick in here.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan. Screw the Bears. I hope they never win a game. Sorry. But it was like, wow, this is amazing in here. And it's going to change. That kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It sucks getting old and watching things change, right? Watching things change, and then you feel like you're talking like your parents used to do 20 years ago, and you're thinking, "What the hell?"
So my buddy is a big Bears fan. He's like, "Man, that's like right where Walter broke the record." I was like, "That's a cool thing,
That's awesome.
Tino. You're awesome. Come here, puppy. You just peed where Walter broke the record."
That's so cool.
Well, you can't have nostalgia if everything stays the same all the time.
I guess that's a great point, and everybody loves nostalgia.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You want a break?
Let's go ahead and take the break. On the flip side, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about letters that are people getting in the mail, Ross, about switching over the depopulation letters. There was a really good article in the Sentinel about a person that went through this and over several months got several letters, and it was very confusing to them. And each letter was a little different, so I thought it'd be interesting to get you to interpret a little bit about it, to understand how it works in the real world. And because a lot of the things he was confused about, you've already talked about on our show. And the other thing we're going to talk about with Ross on the flip side is My Safe Florida home hardening program. I think that we should start talking about that because the market is going to be changing. I think some people are going to want to stay in their house longer. And because of that, I think this home hardening program might be beneficial to certain people. So we're going to talk about that too. Excellent. Lots of valuable information. Of course, you're always welcome to dive in. Questions, comments, concerns. You want to get involved with the conversation? I'll give you that toll-free number, 877-927-6969. If you want to dial up now, it's a quick 4-minute break. We will get to your phone call. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You got a hotline, 888-973-7828. You'll find that number at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Your one-stop real estate shop. You get all the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate. We're right here on Real Radio.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
from the Gordon Partners Weather Center. Have you been injured in a motor vehicle accident? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. I hope everyone has an opportunity this afternoon to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather. Just be sure to drink your water. It's going to be on the warm side with highs in the mid and upper 80s, right around our average for this time of year. Tomorrow looks very similar with a higher chance for showers in the late afternoon and early evening.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And with My Lowe's Rewards, your savings just keep coming with members-only offers. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowes.com/MyLowe'sRewards. Subject to terms and conditions, see Lowes.com/terms for details.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1. And we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
You can dial it, 877-927-6969. That's toll free. You want to be a part of the program, you're more than welcome on this Saturday morning. I'm your boy, Johnny C. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, same to you, my friend. Little Sunfest weekend.
Mm-hmm.
No radio representing out there. If you're out and about, make sure you swing by and say hi. think Franny's going to be out there, you said?
She should be out there from 3 to 5. She's going to be out there in a couple different capacities, of course, with not only Real Radio, but with Jason with the morning show for WKGR. So the Gator will be out there repping.
Excellent. Nice to hear. I'm sure lots of folks will be soaking that up this weekend. If you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. You get an entire team like Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. What's up, my dude?
Not a whole lot. Not going to Sunfest.
No, not happening.
No.
Well, May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
If you go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, you can find Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm.
That's right. Good morning.
Good morning.
May the Schwartz
I'm probably
be
not
with
going to make it to Sunfest either. Although we thought about going last night because what was
Shaggy and Nelly?
Yeah, Shaggy and Nelly.
Nice.
Which, both throwback a little bit for us.
Yeah.
Puts us in there. Jim, I don't know if you know any.
I have Shaggy
songs.
in my.
Oh, you do?
I have Shaggy in my my music list.
Your
whatever you call
iPod.
that.
Jim's like,
yeah.
Was it?
I
Was
don't
it
even know
me?
what to call it. Yeah.
His
me.
iPod.
Yeah.
Touch.
I'm gonna see Nelly open for Janet Jackson at Coral Sky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Cruzan.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, Cruzan. Exactly. There's Jimmy D. He's our fearless leader. 12 plus years now. I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Florida Home Pros at Keller Williams Innovations. Shaggy, how you be?
I'm doing all right. It's Happy South Florida Day, and I want to start off with Citizens Insurance, which always is fun to talk about, right? So, Ross, I have this article in the Sun Sentinel that came out. It was actually like a letter to the editor kind of thing. No, actually, it was an article. Make up your mind, Jim. April 29th, right? So it's a recent thing. This guy wrote a letter. They did an article about this guy that got a series of letters to depopulate. So, Ross, can you just give us just a very quick definition of depopulation so that people know what we're talking about?
Right. So Citizens, when they were created to be the insurer of last resort. But over the last 4 or 5 years, due to everything that's happened, rate increases and everything, Citizens can only increase their rates by a certain amount. Everybody else can increase them whatever they want. So because of that, Citizens became the largest policyholder in the state of Florida. And what they did is they allow other carriers to come in and look at their book of business and say, hey, we'll take that one, we'll take that one, we'll take that one. And then they tell Citizens, okay, here's what we'd be, here's the premium that we would charge. And if that premium is within 20% of the expected Citizens renewal, then you have to move. You have to move. But if it's not within 20%, they'll still send you a letter saying, hey, you have received an offer of coverage from a private carrier. You can make a decision. Here's the offers. It could be more than one. And then it tells you what their premium is. And then it tells you what the expected Citizens premium is. And then it says, hey, you need to choose one. It's not automatic that you're going to stay with Citizens.
Right.
If you don't choose, we're going to make the decision for you, which is often,
we're going to put you over.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what this guy, bless you, this is kind of what this homeowner went through. So what happened was he got a letter in August of last year saying that Citizens informed him that this new insurance company called Slide, which I didn't know was connected to the other insurance company that I had a lawsuit with. I'm not going to mention it right now, but I was like, that's disappointing that this company is connected to the other company.
Is that a rebranding?
It's the same CEO that opened up a different company, supposedly. I don't know why. Probably because
Slide took over St. John's. When St. John's went out of business, Slide took over all their policies.
Okay.
Is that like the equivalent of like SeatGeek and Ticketmaster, where they're like, it's not us, it's them?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the equivalent to that? Yeah?
I don't know.
No, it's not Ticketmaster.
But so he gets this letter stating that this newly formed company submitted an offer to take over this homeowner's insurance policy. This is August 26th of last year. The letter told the homeowner, this is an important choice, but this one needs to be made quickly by October 5th. If you do not respond, the switch will be made automatically to go from Citizens to Slide, right? Then it added that he would be switched to Slide on October 17th if he did not proactively respond to what was going on. And it doesn't say in the letter though that if you're below 20% difference between Citizens and a private company, the letter did not state that according to the article, right? And he felt like it should have. He said it was confusing, right? So then the second letter came out in December. Now he was supposed to have this taken care of by October 17th, right? But in September, they got another letter. And this letter said, you have a takeout offer from Slide. But this time that the prices were different than what they had back in August. So this time it says that the Citizens insurance policy was $299 higher than the August letter. I can understand that to a certain extent because
there's rate increases throughout the year.
Right. So I agree with that, right? But this guy was just confusing to him. So now it went up $299. And then the Slide premium dropped by $176. So the difference was 20.9%, right? So it was above that 20% marker. So he had his choice of what he wanted to do. He could stay or he could go, right? And then I don't know why now the thing that's weird about this is that they started this in October of 2023. His policy wasn't set to renew until May 2024. Right. So that isn't unusual to have like 9 months.
So
in
what
advance.
happens is, okay, let's say that, he has to, it's a mandatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing changes until the renewal.
Mm-hmm.
So they're letting you know, like, hey, here's what's going to happen at your renewal.
Okay.
So the way I've always interpreted, and tell me if I'm wrong, is when that change happens, if you make a claim, it's through the new carrier. Otherwise, your policy's still through Citizens until the renewal, but any claim is going to go through the new company.
Correct. Right. But no changes to your, like when you see that premium, people are like, oh, my premium's now that. No, it's not now yet. That.
Right.
Anything that's going to happen is going to happen at your renewal. And it could be, I mean, it's got to be at least, they have to give you a non-renewal notice. Meaning they have to give you 120 days.
So they have to give you 120 days
has
minimum.
To be that far out for them to process.
That's interesting to know. So
and
then
what you just said, Johnny, so if you had a claim, let's say you're
if you get
3 months out from your...
You get depopped, right? You have Citizens, they depop you to Slide.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, it's in the margin. You're now... But your policy
doesn't happening for 4 months.
Your policy doesn't renew for 5 more months. If we get a hurricane, you get a claim. A claim actually goes to Slide, your new carrier, even though your policy is with Citizens. It's just it's in this transition.
And even though you could renew with anybody you want.
Well,
right. No, so basically, when it happens, the new carrier assumes that policy and the responsibilities at that point, right? So any claims, that's that new carrier's responsibility, right?
Even though I might not even renew with them when the policy.
Absolutely.
Okay. So they basically take over the policy in anticipation of picking up next year's policy. Interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that part.
It's like it's instantly off of Citizens' coffers.
So if you had a claim, you called Citizens, they'd be like, here's the number you need to call.
Right. You're going to get once you're depopulated, you're getting additional documentation.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's if you're going, if it's mandatory that you're going, pretty much you can't go back to Citizens.
Right.
And if you're being depopulated and you're already with Citizens, chances are there's not another carrier out there. So, that carrier is probably going to be your carrier next year too.
One of the things I wanted to mention in the article, I don't want to get into it too much, but they did talk about what would happen if you were in that transition and you had a claim, and there's a certain date that they tell the homeowner. If the claim happens before this date, it goes with this company. If it happens after this date, it goes with that company.
That's the assumption date.
So is that what it's called? Yeah.
That carrier would take over.
Okay. So then what happened with this guy? So because he was at 20.9%, he decided that he was going to take Citizens. Right. So he took Citizens and he ended up paying less. He ended up paying more than his original letter in August, but less than he paid than was offered in December for the Citizens policy. Right. Just to make it more confusing.
Yeah.
Then
20% less.
after he signed up, let me see. hold on here. Then after he signed up, he got another letter the week that he was going into effect with Citizens, saying that Slide was offering him another depopulation letter, and this time it was less than the 20%. But he had already signed up with the Citizens, right? So on this one, it said that, again, they said that we're going to switch you over if you don't make a decision. And let me see, how did it end up with this guy? This guy ended up staying with Citizens for right now, but he said it was very confusing, and he felt like all the letters weren't giving him all his rights, like explaining everything, each letter. It would almost look like to him like the first couple letters were really trying to push him over to Slide no matter what, even though that they were a 20%, more than a 20% gap in between the two.
I know comprehension isn't in everybody's wheelhouse, but those letters are I've seen them. I've gotten them.
Yeah, you've gotten them.
They're pretty well spelled out, but I get comprehension isn't strong point.
So you felt like you understood it pretty well?
Yeah, you just have to read it. And if you don't understand it, read it again.
Yeah. Read it
and
slow.
if you don't understand it, pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, Ross."
Yeah.
So
what the heck does this mean?
So, I feel like it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's if then here you go, here's your choices, you got to decide. I mean, it's
decide by this date.
Yeah, sometimes I think I've seen them too, Ross, where it's not like you have to decide. It's like, here's just an option, right? Am I wrong?
Well, you always have to decide.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if it's mandatory, you don't have to decide.
Right. That's made for you.
If it's mandatory, you don't have to decide.
That's what I'm.
You can decide not to decide.
You know what?
So, if you have the option to stay with Citizens, then you have to make a choice, right? Like if you've received a letter that says, hey, you have the option to stay with Citizens and you don't want your premium to increase, then you have to make a decision.
Okay.
But then there's sometimes where the offer is less. And so you're automatically moved over at less premium.
The other thing that he brought up that I thought was kind of interesting. So let's say that when he got the original letter in August and his policy wasn't going to end until the next May. If he mentioned in the article that if he had signed up with the Slide company, the company between August and may jack up their prices, just normal stuff, right? But they may increase their prices. So then that might change the 20% thing.
Absolutely.
And he might have been better off staying with Citizens for price purposes.
Well, I mean, so if you do get that renewal, let's say they said, hey, our expected renewal is 4,000 and your expected renewal with Citizens is 3,500. Okay, well, that's 20, it's more than, right, that's whatever.
Right.
And then the renewal comes in and it's
4,500.
5,500.
Okay.
Right. All right. Now Citizens is 3,500. You can go back. You can
do
back.
that. So once you leave, if they raise their prices as Citizens within that 20%, then you can go back.
Mm-hmm. As long as the Citizens premium, apples to apples, cover all the coverages have to match.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the Citizens premium is greater than 20% less, then you can go back to Citizens.
So Johnny had the best advice about all this. When you get the letter in the mail, you read it very carefully. No, don't. You read it very carefully. And then when you don't understand it, you pick up the phone and you call Ross.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. Okay. So we got the plan here. Call Ross. Okay. Call Ross. And the easiest way to do that is to
go to floridatalkrealestate.com. You can call 888-973-7828. But floridatalkrealestate.com is your hub, your one-stop real estate shop. You get all the pros like Ross Komarinetz with Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach at floridatalkrealestate.com.
Thank you. And now I want to switch over to the MySafe Florida Home Program. There's some things I don't like about this program. It's for people that are thinking Mike and I have gone through this. So we've had customers that went and used this program to get either a new roof or impact windows or something to make their house better for hurricanes. But then they go to sell the house and they think that they can just take the cost and roll it over to the buyer, right? So like they're on a payment plan and they're saying, hey, I've paid 6 months of this plan, of this 4-year plan. Mr. Buyer, you take over the cost when you buy the house. But Mike, can you do that?
So I don't want to confuse the two things. So like if
Okay.
you do the PACE style lending, so the property assessed clean energy, that's where you get a loan to do improvements like this. Could be really any improvements, but typically like energy or home hardening. And then that loan is paid, that you're getting a loan to do that, but it's paid back through the property appraiser.
Right.
Right. So it's just kind of, it's part of your property tax bill. So I think that's different than the home hardening.
It is
different than the
I didn't
MySafe
know.
Florida home.
Okay.
But yeah, so the answer to, if you have the PACE style lien, PACE liens, if the buyer of your home, maybe we should back up.
If you have a PACE loan on your property and you go to sell it, you
basically
can't
gotta satisfy
transfer.
it.
You got to pay it off.
gotta pay it off.
You can't just transfer the balance over to the new buyer.
Unless it's like a cash buyer, right? They could potentially, you could say, hey, listen, I got this loan to put the new roof on. It's paying back over the next 10 years. You can assume this loan, right? And of course the buyer would have to agree to that, but if it was a cash deal, that's possible.
Right.
But
If
if it's a
lender won't
finance
allow it.
deal, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA don't allow it.
So with the home hardening, I call it home hardening. I'm sorry, the MySafe Florida Home Program.
Yes.
That program I thought was just a different name for PACE, but it is not. It's a different
not,
program.
completely different. It's a grant. It's a state funded, state government funded second, I guess, not even a second, because it's not a loan, right?
It's not a loan. They just give it to you.
It's just
Yeah.
it
So
doesn't have to be repaid.
That scenario is one that you wouldn't pay back unless you sold the home, kind of like a second.
Well, you
don't know.
have to
It's not
pull
even a
money out
second.
of
It's
your
just-
pocket.
It's just a grant. I don't think it stays attached.
You
I don't think
get-
it's repayable.
You get depending on what you have to give them a bill what you're doing, and then you pay a certain amount and they give you a grant up to a max. I think the max is 10,000.
10,000.
But you're not putting on a roof for 10,000.
No, but it's
Right.
a big chunk.
It's a huge chunk.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
awesome. It's a good program for people that need it. But can you transfer that grant over, Mike?
But you're not transferring
There's
anything.
no
That's,
loan.
it's
There's no
basically
loan. It's just money.
it's basically you going to the state, say, hey, or the state has a program that, we're just using a new roof. Hey, you want to put on a new roof because your roof doesn't qualify for a certain credit. If you put up $5,000, we'll just give you a check for 10 for your new roof. See you later.
Right.
There's no, you don't have to pay it back.
Yeah, there's no lien.
So there's no lien.
Okay, so-
There's no,
No
doesn't get
caveats.
attached to title in any way.
Right.
It's just, hey, here's a check.
So it's just financial qualification, essentially. Is that
There's no qualification other than it's a improvement that has to be under the category, and they'll give you $2 for every $1 you contribute,
Right.
up to 10. So if you can basically do a $15,000 project
for $5,000?
for $5,000.
As Ross just noted,
And you
right?
have to use one of their contractors.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
gotta use their contractors. You get they'll send an inspector out to do a wind mit.
Mhm.
Basically, the items that you're talking about are things that are on the wind mit.
Yeah.
Right.
So the wind mitigation report is a report that allows you to qualify for discounts on the wind portion of the premium. And so it's a 7 or 8 question multiple choice questionnaire, and depending on
See.
what is chosen is a degree of discount. So what they go is they do the report and they go, hey, you could make this better and get this discount. Oftentimes it's going to be shutters or impact windows, because
Right. That's
because
the two
most
big
of the
things.
time everybody has the kind of normal discounts. If you have clips, you can upgrade, or toenails or clips, you can upgrade to single wraps. You can get the money for that.
I think the big things are looking at is roofs,
Yeah.
and windows and doors.
Yep.
Like those are the big ticket items that probably are above that $15,000 price point. But you could put in, $10,000 and get a $20,000 project done. You could put in $20,000 and get a $30,000 project done. So
But it's all about hardening, though. It's not about making it more like green or efficient. It's about hardening.
yeah,
Right.
and the PACE stuff that Jim kind of was talking about, and not confusing the two, but maybe melding them, is like the PACE stuff is
Can be-
qualifying improvements for home hardening and or energy efficient
Mhm.
improvements. So it almost could be anything.
Yeah.
Like the couple that called in a couple weeks ago and was talking about the hardy plank siding, right? That would probably be something that would qualify under PACE financing, but not so much under the MySafe Florida home.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Rick had called us a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. He used the My Safe Florida program, remember? Because he said he couldn't be the contractor.
Yeah, I think that was last week he called and reminded us. I think his story where he had been in the queue, so to speak, right? He had done his application, was waiting, and then he finally got notification that he was going to be approved.
So that's the thing I want to tell everybody is that these applications start July 1st, but you should start getting ready and get this stuff together now so you can be the first in line.
So here's a quick question.
But let me just break down on the application part. So what's gonna happen is, I didn't realize they were doing this. They're going to have different segments of homeowners, and they're going to start with certain type of homeowners first, and then go down the list until they run out of money.
Are they sending out mail?
Huh?
Are they sending out mail?
I don't know.
Because I've gotten mail about the PACE program recently.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting when you read it. Like, seems like a weird thing to advertise, but
I think it's a smart thing. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to shore everybody up so that if we get the big one, that as many houses are protected as best can be with the older age home. I think it's a smart idea in the long run.
I'm with you.
But this is how they're going to break it down, guys. So just keep this in mind. The first group of people that are going to be allowed to apply, and this is for the first 2 weeks of July, are people that are 60 and over and have a low income, right? If anybody's interested about the income stuff, I can send you the stuff in the mail. The second group is going to be 2 weeks later, and it's going to be low income homeowners of any age. So the first one's going to be 60 and over. The second group is low income, any age. Then it becomes moderate income, 60 and over for 2 weeks. Then the next 2 weeks is going to be moderate income homeowners of any age. And then whatever's left over after August 30th, they're going to let everybody else apply at that point. So if this program, I think in real life, talking to people, the people I think this will affect the best in the most positive way are the seniors that are on a budget. I know it's always tough when a senior on a budget on a fixed income is trying to replace a roof. It becomes very difficult for them sometimes.
My goodness.
But this can really help out a lot to get an extra $10,000 to help do the roof.
Anybody on a budget,
right? Anybody on the budget,
check to check. So
yeah. But so this program is coming out again. It's a really good program if you need it. So if you need more information on it, give me a call, from the FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Just give me a call and I'll get you as much information as I can.
Yeah, reach out on Facebook.
And this is just a really good public service program that's out there. So anybody that needs it, you should take advantage of it when you can.
But there are going to be deadlines for it, so be paying attention.
I do have a question on this, Ross. Okay, so remember that house I told you I talked about the plantation home? It's built in 1977, has no hurricane protection on it at all, right? If it had a good roof and the garage door was okay, right? And I don't know if I'm probably sure isn't strapped to today's codes because it was built in 77. Are they going to get creamed? The new homeowner, will they get creamed for not having any protection on the house whatsoever? Like, what will happen in that kind of case?
When you say protection, what are you saying?
It has windows and that's it. There's nothing on them. There's no panels.
Whenever you ask me for a quote, I never quote with opening protection. None of my quotes.
You don't have to tell the insurance provider that whether they have panels on it or not, or impact or anything. You don't have to tell them that.
They do, but that's just a discount. That's hard to get. So if you say, hey,
that's what I'm saying. So
whenever you've asked me for a quote, I've never added hurricane shutter, impact window, or any opening protection discount unless it's on the wind mitigation report. If it's listed on there, if you send me a wind mitt and it's on there, yeah, I'll get I quote with it.
So when we do the original quotes, you do it assuming that they don't have anything, and then if we go in a contract and then they go and use you, then you're going to get the wind mitt. You're going to see what protections they have, and then start giving the discounts.
Yeah. So I mean, that's like one of the biggest misconceptions that I hear, like among realtors, is, oh, this doesn't have any protection. What does that mean? And they'll say, well, this doesn't have any protection. It's not worth getting a wind mitigation report.
You still do the wind mitigation, right?
But so if it doesn't have, but your question was like, is it going to be so high because they don't have protection? And it's like, well, what are you talking about protection?
Right.
And some people will say, I don't even want to get a wind mitigation report because it's got original windows. It's like, well, that's not what the wind mitigate, that's just one question. And when you ask me for a quote, I don't even quote with it. In my quotes, if I don't have a wind mitigation report in front of me, I list the additional discounts available, and one of them is hurricane shutter / opening protection discount.
Is the quote that Jim is getting from you, are you making no assumptions about the wind mitt at all? Because you said the opening protection is one.
Right. So we see, a million wind mitts, right? And they're all pretty much the same. There's a few outliers with toenails, where there's no discounts that you see maybe twice a year with 0 discounts. So we quote, when you just say, hey, can I get a quote? And you don't send me a wind mitt. We're gonna quote with what we normally see on the reports, which is that the roof was put on after March of 2002. That, the wood decking is whatever the thickness is, with the 8D nails spaced 6 inches in the field and 6 inches on the edge. We're going to quote with single wraps. We normally see single wraps, even though we talk about hurricane strapping, and we normally see them strapped.
Yeah.
And then whatever the shape of the roof is, of course, we can see that from, looking at it. And then the next one is the secondary water barrier. We don't quote with that until we see it on the report. And we don't quote with the hurricane shutters.
That's really interesting to know. I didn't know that you didn't
assume
that
protection
automatically. Yeah,
No,
that's
because-
pretty interesting
because-
to know.
I'm sure there's a lot of agents that do, oh, here's a quote with max discounts.
because they're worried about scaring you away with a big,
Right.
a real.
And
a
so
real number.
then, okay, hey, Jim, I just sent you a quote for $1,000. You sent me a wind mitigation report. Now it's 2,000, like,
Right.
Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That
Hey,
would
this
be-
is going to
that
go
would be
down,
bad.
right?
Yep.
No,
No.
it's actually no, because I quoted you with stuff that you probably aren't going to, I would rather be the guy that when he gets the wind mitigation report go,
Get
oh,
the-
dude, check this out. You're now qualifying for opening protection. Now, instead of the quote being 2,000, now it's $1,500.
Right,
you know?
exactly. I'd much rather be over conservative and then come back and scale it back. and
Yeah,
have
I mean,
good
it's
news
just
than
like
go,
in Mike's
"Uh-oh."
world,
Yeah.
when people are
needs it.
going, hey, they're quoting insurance at $100 a month just so he can get a nice, HUD out or whatever to show
Right.
a low payment. And then when the numbers come in, that's when the rubber meets the
Surprise.
road, right? So you want to be a
400
little bit,
instead although you just did say policy could go from 2,000 to 1,500 with the opening protection. So can I get a quote like that? 1,500? Is that
Oh, you need
you buying a small condo?
small condo, interior only?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. I don't know if we should take the break or not. Let's
should,
let's
sure.
go ahead and take the break. On the flip side, we're going to switch over to Mike. What we're going to be talking about is the interest rates. There was a big employment report that came out yesterday that's really going to affect us, I think. And the third thing we're going to talk about is this report from Redfin that kind of is stealing the thunder that I had last week about that things are really
people
changing.
are listening to our show. And they're
Yeah,
writing
I mean,
articles.
Mr. Redfin, whoever you are, you're listening to our show. So we're going to be talking about what's happening in the South. Well, actually, in the Florida market for real estate. Is it as strong as everybody's saying, or is it starting to get weak? And we're going to talk about that.
And I think Jerome Powell was listening to our show because he specifically talked about stagflation, Jim.
I know he mentioned
specifically.
that. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about stagflation just because I brought it up in 2018.
Because the time is
Because a
right.
broken clock, a broken clock is right twice a year, right? So, or
Oh,
twice
But you
a
brought
day.
it up
twice a
last
day.
week too. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And
but
he listened. He was like, "Let me address this."
Jim's
let's
talking
get
about
this outta here.
stagflation. We
Yeah.
got to knock this out.
So we'll do a 4-minute reset. We still got lots to get into, valuable information, and you're always welcome. 877-927-6969. If you'd like to be in a fleeting moment of radio stardom, you're more than welcome to jump in and soak it up. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, believe me, I totally understand. I hope to one day be comfortable myself. That's why I prefer to go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You get the whole team, pros, all at the one-stop real estate shop that is FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. 4-minute break. We're back at it. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right now on Real Radio.
The fine woman in your smart speaker knows what you need.
Really?
Don't ask how. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Komarinetz, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowner's insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
The Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
There it is, 877-927-6969. You are welcome to dive into the conversation. If you have a question, comment, concern, don't be shy. If you want to be involved with the conversation, you're more than welcome. Always remember floridatalkrealestate.com for those of you that are not comfortable on the radio. That's your one-stop real estate shop. Pros. floridatalkrealestate.com. I'm Johnny C. Jimothy is our producer extraordinaire. What's up, my brother? Oh.
Hello, and happy Saturday.
Yeah, my friend. We got Ross Komarinetz with us. Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. How you doing, Ross?
Juno, that's right, my man.
Good to see you as always. Mike Rouse here, too. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello, Mike.
Hello. Yeah, buddy.
We found out last week that you're in how many states now? You can do mortgages in how many states now?
5?
54.
Yeah.
Yeah, 54 state, all 54
Yes.
states.
All right.
I have to count them. Florida,
Yep.
Georgia,
Yeah.
Tennessee,
Okay.
Virginia.
South Carolina, Virginia, Colorado.
6 of them now.
6 states.
And we did find out that you're like, hey, every time I get a chance to do it, I just
if you're moving out of state and you want a loan originator, because the thing is about loans, like it applies everywhere. There's some little things that may be local specific. I have to like say, well, if you're coming to Florida with an out of state lender, there may be some things that they don't know if you're not like operating in Florida. But I think actually Florida is probably one of the more difficult, right? Like you just have to know certain things as it relates to condos, as it relates to insurance quotes, wind mits, and all that stuff. I think the rest of the country is easier than
a
Florida.
little more streamlined.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you could do well here in Florida, you should be able to know the rules. But
Nice.
the rules are generally universal, right? Like they apply for whatever state you're buying in.
Yeah, you just got to do a little educating about the state and get yourself as versed as you are in Florida,
Yeah,
and then
take
you're ready to go.
classes. Yeah.
How long does the state class take in order to get licensed in the state?
It's usually like an 8-hour.
It's 8 hours.
Yeah, so
And
you've
you
already done like your federal
right.
testing and education requirements, and you do that every year. So each state probably requires like an 8-hour course to get so it's 1 day online course.
I'm going to ask this question because my wife asked me. My wife's a huge fan of everybody on the team. She had a chance to wrap her arms around Mike a couple weeks ago.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
She's always like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Mike's so awesome." No offense to anybody else. She loves everybody. But she asked me, and I was like, I don't know the answer to that. You have to like renew every year.
Yes,
You do, even in
Yes.
Florida, obviously. Huh?
Yeah.
Every year.
You
have to,
basically
take
have
a test or
you
something?
have a continuing education. There's no testing other than within your continuing education. So you have continuing education requirements for every state that you're registered in, and then of course they have annual fees.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do some of the continuing education blend over to other states? Like if you take one continuing education, can 4 states get knocked out?
No.
No, you have to do separate
Yeah, it's
for each
usually
one.
state specific. I'm trying to think.
Wow.
There might be some states that don't require it. I forget.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
But usually it is state specific education, right?
Right.
So it's like here's what's happening in Virginia that you need to know about, this year,
awesome.
or Florida.
Mike is also a Tiffany magnet for those that didn't know.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Of course,
I didn't know that.
Jimmy D is, well, you do now. Jimmy D is with us, of course. He's our fearless leader. 12 plus years now, I've told you, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, Florida Home Pros at Keller Williams Innovations. Woo! Jim Paola, how you be?
I'm doing great. We're going to go into this Redfin article because I've been saying for about a month and a half now or something that I feel like we're going through a change. And I really not backing away from that right now, even though there's nothing out there saying that it's happening for sure.
We just had record sales prices.
I know. I mentioned that in February, we had that 11.3% increase year over year in Palm Beach County for single family homes. Broward County was even a little higher than 11.3% year over year. But I was like, but also inventory is growing by a lot. So I feel like we're starting to go through a shift, like a change up. And Redfin is starting, and I'm not a big Redfin believer on everything, but I think that
But they give you free information. You'll take it.
yeah, and it kind of falls into line what I was saying anyway. So it just reinforces what I was saying. So I'm going to use
What do they call
Redfin.
that? Little confirmation bias.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I like the answer, so I'm going to talk about it. But no,
Redfin's not so bad.
well, yeah, right, exactly. So here's the thing. They're saying that they one of the things that's true is that the average days on market in Florida jumped from 24 days on market to 57 days on market in March. Okay.
So from 1 month to 2 months.
Yeah, we went from 1 month average to 2 month average for the average average house to go under contract, not closed, just go under contract from the day they put it on the market till it goes under contract. And now we're all the way up to 57 days. Now, I've been in markets where it's been 300 days on average on market, depending on the neighborhood. And I've been in markets where it was literally 7 days on market and it's gone. 57 is kind of like the average, like not a good market, bad market. Before everybody's so used to everything happening so fast because it's been like that for so many years that they don't realize like 60 days on market is like not a bad time.
That's still a seller's market.
It's still, yeah, but I really think we're starting to slide into a buyer's market. Remember I mentioned last week where Jason bought his property in Port St. Lucie. Really nice community, gated, low HOA fees, houses are in great condition, the community's nice and tight. There's no they take care of the grounds and the common areas. They make sure all the homeowners are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Really great little community. I shouldn't call it little. It's a gigantic community. But there's 21 houses for sale over there. And many of them are on the market way more than 60 days, right? And they're just not selling and they're priced right. So
how could that be?
I called up all the agents. The neighborhood is so slow that a bunch of the I used to do this if I had to. I would get the other brokerages together and do like a mass open house for the neighborhood to get as many people out there. They're doing that while we were trying to find our property over there.
Yeah.
So those homes are going anywhere from the lowest sale in the last 14 months or so was like 290, and they went all the way up to, I think, 420. Okay, so there was a big spread, but that 290 was a really big outlier. The 420 is not so much. And our unit is probably worth fixed up 375-ish, I'm thinking. And we were able to get that at basically 70,000 below that number. And it's because there's just so many houses over there and there's not enough buyers for them. And the other interesting thing I found out is a lot of the agents told me that have the houses on the market out there, that people are coming to see them. They're just not turning in offers.
Right.
And that's a function of the interest rate. People are still looking because they want to do something. So they figure, I'm going to go look now, but I'm not going to buy now because the interest rate's good too. We're going to talk about that in a second. But this is what Redfin is saying. They're saying that Florida real estate struggles as motivated sellers flood the market. Okay, that's how they describe it.
Flood.
Yeah,
Flood.
they say it flood the market. Well, to be fair,
Poor choice of words for Florida.
Yeah, exactly, right. I didn't think about that. But think about it. Palm Beach County, we were down as low as under 1 month of inventory, meaning if no other properties came on the market, it'd take less than a month to have 0 properties on the market. Normal is 6 months. We went from under 1 month about 9 months ago, to 4.5 months inventory. That's a big jump to go from 1 month to 4.5 months.
Yeah,
So
what
it's
we were
from
hoping
normal.
for, though. I mean, we've been saying the only thing that's going to cause prices to stay, either remain flat or even come down a little bit is more inventory. We've got to have more inventory. So
You're right.
It's exactly what we want.
It's what we wanted.
Yep.
So why Redfin? So Redfin is noticing a couple of changes in the Florida market. First of all, days on market growing. We've been telling you that for a while now. But the other thing is why they think that we're in a highly motivated sellers market is that they noticed that of the listings in Florida, 5,600 listings use the word motivated seller in the description, right? We just had one where it said motivated seller, bring all offers. We brought in an offer. They didn't want that offer. It's like, I didn't mean all the offers, even though that's what they said. So the other thing that's interesting about this whole motivated seller and public remarks in the listings, a lot of times the sellers have no idea that the agent put in their motivated seller. Believe it or not, it isn't like the sellers are telling the agent,
we're really motivated.
Put in there seller motivated. In fact, I've never heard a buyer, I've never heard a homeowner tell me,
Jim,
put
I
in
want
the
you to
listing that I want to say that I'm motivated.
I want you to put desperate.
Yeah, right. And so first of all, I think that's kind of interesting. What that tells me is a lot of times, if my instincts are right, that it isn't the homeowners that are so freaked out, it's the agents,
motivated
agents that want the deal done. It's like, bring it offers so I can bring it to the seller, right? So the first thing is
understandable.
First thing is, and I had a buyer recently that saw a listing where it said motivated seller, bring all offers. And they were like, look, the seller's saying this, the seller's saying this. And I'm like, not necessarily the seller saying this. This could be the agent putting that in on their own. And they do that. I never put in motivated seller.
I was going to say, you could
never do that.
Ask your seller how motivated they are, scale of 1 to 10, and then you put that into the remark. They're like, they're a 7.5 motivation on Jim's motivation scale.
On Jim's motivation scale.
Bring your offers accordingly, right? they're a 10 or they're only a 1, guys.
It
They're
just
only a 1.
seems like it makes you weaker in the listing. I've always had that. Even when I was doing short sales and it was very hard to sell, I never went in there and said, bring all offers or blah, blah, blah. I let them bring the offers and then take them one by one. And if they're low, they're low, right?
Sure.
If they're low, then we try to negotiate. And if we can't negotiate it, not the right match.
I
we move
imagine
on.
your approach is something like, listen, guys, if we wanted to sell in this amount of days, we should probably price it around here. If you're okay, like, let's hold out and get whatever, we price it over here and we can expect a little bit longer. Don't be surprised, right? But if you got to sell it in 30 days because you got this other home that you need to buy and all that, we better price it around here.
Yeah,
that's how we're going to get eyeballs.
If you're a seller buyer, you got to price it right, or you're in big trouble. So with Redfin, they're saying that there's way more motivated sellers here in Florida than before. I do believe that. And there was another little news blurb that came out. I don't know if it was last week or this week, where I read we found our first little bubble that's popping.
I remember that.
Is Tampa. So Tampa now is seeing actual month over or year over year price depreciation, where the prices are lower than they were a year ago.
Oh.
And that's because of the increase in inventory. So that's another sign. I expected
Lots of motivated sellers.
I
over there.
expected that. Exactly.
Right?
Well, there are. And I expected that to actually be a little farther south, closer to Cape Coral. But Tampa is the first one that's showing that it had negative year-over-year appreciation. Another sign, I was talking to one of the customers of ours that's going to be selling a house. They say that up in Ocala, there's builders out there building single-family homes, very affordable single-family homes. He showed me a really nice 4-bedroom, 2-bath, already built, and it's brand new. It's just waiting for an owner.
Are they all zero lot line?
317. No,
that's
quarter acre to acre and a half.
Nice.
Wow.
317, right? For
You're
brand new
in Ocala,
construction.
but that's awesome.
Well, Ocala's changed a lot. Have you been up there lately?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, you've probably been concerts and stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it has changed a lot, but it's still Ocala.
It's still Ocala. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm going to try to argue. I was like, nah, I'm not going to go down that road. But that's that area. The person that's planning on buying up there, whole bunch, he says, whole bunch of single family homes, brand new, just sitting there waiting for the homeowner.
Jeez.
Okay.
So we're starting to see part of it, I think, is buyers are out right now. It's like crickets chirping to a certain extent.
Oh, buyers are not out.
They're on the sideline.
Yeah.
They're not out in their car.
Yeah.
They're looking online.
Out of the game.
They're looking online.
I mean,
cursing.
I'll tell you what, if you are a buyer, and we've talked about what's a buyer, right? Let's, it makes sense. You and your family lifestyle, you can, there's probably going to be some opportunity here to take advantage of the thing that you're talking about, right? Which is a little bit of easing on the inventory. So more inventory, more choices. You should have a little bit more power in your offers and negotiations, things like that. But, we got some things that are coming up. Hometown Heroes is going to be refunded here on July 1st, right? That money, we don't know how long it's going to last, but it's probably 100 million. It's probably going to go in 10 weeks, right? 10, 12 weeks, something like that. So there's going to be, if you're a buyer and you're thinking about taking advantage of that, there's going to be a lot of other buyers who are in your shoes. And so you really got to be prime. You can't wait till July, right? Yeah. Like, as a matter of fact, if you could potentially, I have people who are pre-approved, need Hometown Heroes. That's the program that they're going to want to use. And they're kind of peripherally shopping, but they're coming up to the moment now where you could potentially get into a contract, close, second half of July and do that. But you could get into, we're a little bit far out now, right?
But some people might take it.
That would be like a, 75-day close or something like that. It's possible. But I'll tell you what, in the next month, 2 months for sure, like these are those buyers who are waiting, they're going to come out. So I guess the point is you have to be ready. You have to be ready.
Here's the two things that I feel like if you really want to take advantage of today's market, everybody's trying to talk how to outthink the market and everything. If you really wanted to try to do it to get the best results, in my opinion, I've said this before.
Oh, yeah.
As far as the buyers, I feel like the buyers, many of them would be better off Buy if they can afford it and it's the right thing for them to do, and they're going to stay in the house for a while, right? They're not just doing it for a temporary thing or for a short transition period. Buy the unit, pay the higher interest rate as long as you can afford the house and the house is a good house for you, and then wait for the market to shift and then take advantage of the market, because you're going to be able to do that. How are you going to take advantage of the market? First of all, when the rates go down, we're going to see prices spike, okay? You're not going to go through that because you already bought the house. So it's going to spike past where you started from. Okay. That's where the spike's going to start. It is from where you started from going up. You're not going to have to worry about, oh, the prices are going up, prices go up. I got to go find my house now. You already bought your house. Now you're watching your house appreciate, just like everybody else's houses appreciate, but you already bought. Then you wait for the interest rates to go lower and lower and lower. And then when it gets to the trough, then you go in and you refi the house if it makes sense.
Yeah.
We do the math. And now you're sitting pretty because you paid last year's prices, if you will. You got this year's interest rates when the rates drop through a refi. You paid extra for the refi that you wouldn't have had to if you bought, but the appreciation is going to far outstrip the cost for the refi. And for buyers, that's the better move than waiting for the market to change for the interest rates, because you're not taking advantage. You're not understanding that when the interest rates change, the prices are going to be affected in a negative way to you. So if you can do it, it's always better to do it now. And I've been saying that for over a year. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the real truth. And Susan called up last week to explain that's exactly what happened to Susan.
Yeah.
When she bought her house in 2019. Now she looks like a genius in 2025. But in 2019, people were telling her, what the heck are you doing buying the house for now? How prices are too high. Interest rate is too high.
We've had that. I mean,
Right?
certain buyers have that type of thought process on it or mentality, which is it's just too expensive right now. Whatever, prices are too high, rates are too high. I'm going to wait. And that's fine with me as long as you have some idea of what you're waiting for. I don't have a problem with that thing. But for most of the years that we've been having those types of conversations, they've been wrong, right? And I'm not saying that you guarantee your house is going to continue to appreciate, guarantee rates are going to be favorable for refinances. None of that is guaranteed. So you have to, like, step one is you have to get into a payment that you know you can afford, right? The house that checks as many boxes as possible and the payment that is comfortable. And if you can get that combination, I just don't think there's ever a case where continuing to rent, and I'm doing like the rent versus buy, but continuing to rent is better than buying, right? And because none of us have crystal balls, and we're all like we're knee deep in this, Jim, and you and I can't tell you what's going to happen in 3 months or 6 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years, right? Other than probably you're going to be in good shape at some point. I mean, you're probably likely you're going to be in really good shape at some point.
Yeah, we're
right?
Florida. We're all about properties. You know what I mean? It's like Florida is different than not all the states, but most of the states, in that people are more in tune to real estate as a function of like almost like their income compared to other states.
And you might even decide like, hey, Florida is just not right for us. We're like, my job is mobile, my income is mobile. We're going over here because price. That's fine too, right? Because you're seeking out the house that works, the locations that work, and the numbers that work.
That's right. The things that check the boxes that you're lining up.
But now I have a new message. So I've been telling buyers that forever now, right? You know, sitting on the sidelines until you're ready, then make the move, because in the long run, you're going to look way better off by doing it this way. But now I'm going to be saying something else. If you're thinking of selling in the next year, and you don't have like a thing like, I got to wait for my kid to graduate high school next May. If you got to wait for that, you got to wait for that. There's nothing you could do. But if you have that flexibility, you're like, I could move now, but I think I'd rather move next year. You better start thinking about looking at maybe putting the house on the market earlier than you're planning. Because if this market does get weak, right? If it does get weaker, okay, prices, we're going to start seeing Tampa not being in an aberration. It's going to be the norm, and it's going to slide across. And Florida, I think, is more prime than that, than some other places. I know people are going to argue, yeah, but all the people are coming to Florida. But I'm also arguing, yeah, but there's a lot of people leaving Florida
Yeah.
too.
So if you
at the
pay
same time.
attention to headlines, the headlines forever was everybody's moving to Florida. The headlines now are everybody's leaving Florida.
Well, it's
a
kind of a
total
little bit of
different
both.
flip.
It's a little bit of both. All these northerners are moving to Florida. That makes us strong. And then the undercurrent is all the middle class people are starting to flee Florida, going to other states
Yeah,
that they
it's
feel
just
are better for them.
affordability. We're like
Yeah.
now one of the one of the most expensive states to live in.
Yeah.
Just affordability is getting sapped out.
And if this inventory continues to grow and you think that you're a seller, it's like, oh, I'm going to throw my house on the market and it's going to have 20 showings and 5 offers in 2 days, have fun with that, because that was a very unusual market during COVID. And we're probably not going to see that again unless we have another situation where all the planets align like that again. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, because COVID wasn't a good thing, but that's what it's going to take for that market to come back. That was like a once, probably, hopefully, assuming we don't have another pandemic, a once in a lifetime situation that we experienced. So if you're a seller, you better keep a very clear idea on the market, because the amount of money you're going to get for your house, it might be significantly lower if you wait too long.
That's right.
And I think now we are kind of at a peak, and we'll see if I'm right about that or not. Now, getting to that whole thing, Mike, is we had the unemployment jobs report come out this week. Last week, we had that really bad inflation report.
Don't we have to wait till next month's job report to really get the actual job report?
Well, actually, last month's job report, Ross, they were predicting 200,000 jobs. They reported 300,000 jobs. They modified it, a month later, 315,000 jobs. It went up by 5%.
New jobs?
Yeah, new jobs.
Okay.
This is jobs report, not unemployment. So what happened with the jobs report yesterday was we only had 175,000 jobs. They were thinking like closer to 200. It's the first time that they've been off the wrong way, or first time in a long time they've been off the wrong way, maybe a year and a half. So what we're seeing is that less jobs were filled. The jobs that were filled, ironically, usually it's leisure and hospitality service. That was slow, which is telling me that less people are going out a little bit. We're also seeing signs that consumer spending's going down a little bit.
Yep.
And then on top of that, the interest rates haven't been very favorable to buyers right now. This week we're at 7.22, guys. For Freddie Mac, it went up 0.05 from last week. Over the last 52 weeks, our low was 6.35. Remember all the people that said that's too damn high? Well, we're a half a point above that now. We're almost a point above that now. We're 0.85 above that. And the highest over the last 52 weeks was November, when we hit 779. So we're closer to 779 than we are 635 right now. So that I did see, though, that the Treasury bonds dropped after the Freddie Mac report came out. So then I was thinking Mike's way. Oh, did that report come out? So did we see interest rates scaling down a little bit?
Yeah. So this next Thursday, we'll see a drop.
You think we'll see a drop next Thursday?
Not
Good.
how much? It's not going to be much, but
no, it probably 0.05 to 0.12 or something.
Yeah.
Like
if
that.
I were, I would. If I were predicting
Thursday,
yeah, I mean it's hard to predict that. Yeah, next Thursday.
Yes.
No,
that's just Thursday's the report for what happened Thursday to Thursday. But the Fed meeting came on Wednesday, right? The press conference and the release and everything on Wednesday afternoon. So I think if you were to summarize what happened there, somehow, and I was surprised by this, people were expecting possibly a rate hike. So then the headline became Powell they're not increasing the rate. It's like, well, wait a second. That was not in the cards. It's just like we're not getting the decrease. So not decreasing the rate either. Maybe two predicted rate cuts by the end of the year, which was less than the 3 that we've been talking about.
September. That's
for
what I've
year,
been saying all year.
right?
September.
And so I could see that changing too, but I think the story is the same. Inflation isn't doing quite what we want it to do, so we're going to hold our course. We're actually the other piece of good news was the Fed is going to reduce the amount that they're reducing their quantitative easing, right? So they're playing in the bond market, so they're planned on unloading
more
bonds, and so they're slowing down how fast they're unloading those assets. So that was taken as like good news.
And the reason why that's good news, because that's very wonky for people. So when they were selling the bonds, apparently when you stop selling the bonds, the amount of money that's circulating, liquid money, is more available than when they do the quantitative tightening. So now that they're backing off from the quantitative tightening a little bit, it's given them a little room for liquidity in the market. That's what I read.
Okay. Yeah.
So so that would mean that lenders like that. That's what they were writing in the article, that lenders like that liquidity.
Yeah, I think it's their position in bonds, their position in mortgage-backed securities, right? So basically, if the Fed is buying it, it's strong, and the Fed was like, we're going to get out of that game. So then it, it's indicates some level of risk.
But that report that Powell had, that was not a good report. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying that, Powell said some things, they're very mysterious with the way they use their language, because they don't want people to predict or act on what they think is going to happen, but everybody does that anyway.
I mean, I'll tell you what, everybody does that.
Yeah,
so
everybody does
you can
it
understand
anyway.
why he's got to be super careful, because if he says the wrong thing, it's like...
Well, Greenspan was famous for that. Greenspan would sit there and talk for an hour and a half, and you'd be like, what the heck? I don't even know if that guy was speaking English, right? And he did it on purpose. He did that on purpose because he didn't want you to understand what was happening. Because he didn't want you.
Better.
I know, but so Greenspan was famous for that. But what Powell said, there were two things that really bothered me about what Powell said. Number one, he said that inflation is not going down anymore the way that they were hoping. The trend of it going down is not reliable anymore. So they don't really know what's going to happen with that. And the other thing that they said was that the future was very, he didn't use these words, but it was what he meant. The future is like very unpredictable, and we can't discount any rate hikes in the future if it's needed, right? We've been talking about 6 rate decreases now for how long? Since November. Right? None of that happened. And, now we're going from that to maybe we have to rake the heights again. So then the media really started peppering him during that interview. Are you going to raise the rates? You're going to raise the rates. And then he finally said, we don't have any plans on raising the rates right now. And that's what got the Wall Street to increase.
All the speculators.
Yeah. All the speculators went up, and we had a really strong Wall Street market because he said they're not raising the rates.
Speculation.
I bet you in the back of his head, he's like, I would love to increase a quarter point.
I know. That's what I'm thinking.
He's nowhere near it.
I think the same thing.
Crush it.
I think it's the same thing. It doesn't make sense, people.
Well,
how are you going to reduce the rates when we can't control the inflation? And even if we get it to that magical 2%, how long does it have to stay at 2% before you feel comfortable to start dropping the rates, right?
Yeah.
If you just hit the 2% and then you drop, I just think we're going to be in the same mess we're in now. I just don't see how we're getting out of that, which is what lead to stagflation. That's what would lead to stagflation. If we get stuck in this rut, you can't raise the rates, you can't drop the rates. We don't know what to do.
The thing that gets glossed over, you mentioned it too, though, the most valuable piece, we mentioned it last week, consumer spending is starting to slow. That's the key
a good
to
sign.
everything.
Yeah.
When they first started this, we're like, all they're trying to do is squash the housing market. That's pretty much all they've really affected. I mean, mightily, right?
They might have the new car sales, used car sales. They've had some impact there because those interest rates have gotten
true. The supply chain really squashed a lot of
also
that too. Yeah, it really did. But as far as the movement from the Fed, I feel like the biggest real accomplishment has been the cooling of the housing market. But everything else is contingent upon we, the people, spending less money. It's just it has to happen.
And we've finally seen it. But 1 month doesn't mean a trend. We got to see this happen 3-4 months in a row, and then we got a trend going, which will be good. And this sounds kind of crazy that we're sitting here on the radio saying, we're hoping that consumers spend less and the economy shrinks a little bit so that we can have
and inventory increases.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it that way.
Though that coin, pick your favorite coin. That flip side is the businesses feel that slowdown, and then you'll start getting the layoffs.
Right.
So it will. we need that to happen, but that the reaction to that action is not a positive one, so it can get really messy.
It's gonna.
We got to spend in the right places.
There's going to be certain people that are going to get really screwed up in this economy when it shifts. It's really going to hurt them very, very bad. There are going to be people like that. And
I know
it's
a
gonna
bunch
be
of them, real estate agents.
Yeah, cost of doing business.
Lenders.
You know, the cost of doing business is going to be tough. So
did you see the headline on the stagflation though, Jim?
I didn't. I don't
He
think
says, Jerome Powell says he, I guess, frustrated with that it's like a 70s, thought process, and he doesn't see the stag or the inflation, in quotes. He doesn't see the stag or the inflation.
Huh.
So he's saying he doesn't see it, Jim.
Yeah, well,
the
problem that he has right now. First of all, even if he did see it, he's not going to tell us that he saw it. Okay,
The fact
so
that he's saying
say
he didn't see it may mean he's
that he
worried
did
about
see it.
I totally
Yeah, that
see
he
it.
did see it.
Staring
Right?
right at me.
I don't see anything.
I don't
Right?
know.
But what I think is, I don't know how the consumer spending. I agree with you, Johnny, is going to be the thing. And if consumer spending collapses, I'm not saying just slows down, but if it goes too far, this is what people I don't think get. If it goes too far, we can slide into a downward spiral pretty quick, where we can slide into that stagflation. And stagflation
is
is
this
where
the soft landing talk?
no, this is the opposite, right? This is the crash, right? This is like the Mars rover going, when that balloon thing going down and crashing into the thing. Yeah, one of them wasn't. Was it the Japanese one?
Oh,
one of them landed and maybe it was the Russian one that went there and it smushed.
There was
no.
Start over.
It's not a soft landing.
Wait. When a Mars rover crashes on the surface of Mars and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a noise?
Jimothy has mics everywhere.
There's a really simple answer that you can't have noise unless you have the receptor. You have something to recept the noise. No, that's true. And anyway, there's no air there, so there might not be any noise.
Mars has an atmosphere. Sure, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have an atmosphere?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you seen Total Recall?
No. Breathable one.
We're getting back to
you
movies
can't breathe
again.
in it, but it has an atmosphere. It does have something.
Total Recall was different.
Yeah, Total Recall is definitely different.
That was a different, right?
Yeah.
So this economy
That's
is
interesting. That's your philosophy.
Yeah. What?
If there's nobody there to hear it, it doesn't exist.
Well, it isn't that it doesn't exist, that nobody can hear it.
Yeah.
If you don't have an eardrum, you can't hear anything.
Right, but it's
right. So
did it still make a sound?
Well, it's a vibration that isn't being picked up by something.
But it's still a vibration.
But if nobody's picking it up, then it can't be heard.
Interesting.
Right? So that's what I think. I think you have to have the medium to be able to hear it.
I think that crime and nobody gets hurt. It's victimless.
Yeah, it's a victimless sound. Victimless sound.
Yeah.
Right?
So does that make it a hoax?
Yeah.
Or a witch hunt?
Oh, it would be a witch hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this could turn into a stagflation situation. And what does that mean? That means that, let's say these layoffs get a little stronger than people were expecting, like the consumer spending starts slowing down too much. That's the delicate balance they have here. They want us to spend, but not too much.
Also,
right?
not just layoffs, it's also new hires slowing.
They won't, right? That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So at first, they just won't hire. We're already seeing that. That's why we had the low jobs report yesterday. They're saying less people are hiring right now because there isn't as much demand for it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first part is they're just not going to hire new people. But after a while, it's going to be, hey, we don't need the people we have. And then it's going to be, we're not producing enough. We don't need all these people. And then they're going to start laying off.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. So if it keeps doing that, if it becomes a self-fulfilling situation, then it can get really, really bad. And we could slide down and it's really hard to get out. It's like a vortex. And once you get sucked into that circular drain, it's very hard to pull yourself out of it again.
But it's all driven by Johnny's point, the demand, right? So if the demand dries up, all that's going to go. But where is the demand really going to dry up that much? I don't know.
What I'm hoping is that certain parts of the demand will dry up and other parts will stay solid enough, and that that'll be the soft landing. Like the real estate market's got the heck beat out of it in this thing because they can't. All they have is that blunt weapon of interest rates. Car industry, you're right, Mike, got slammed.
Yep. But we still had the record high sales price in, Palm Beach County, which, was counterintuitive, but we're all like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Demand.
Who knows? Who the heck knows?
Demand.
Yeah.
It's really, it's a very interesting situation we're going through right now. And it's fun to watch in a certain part, but it's also, it's a little scary. And I'm also seeing a lot of agents I know that are not longer agents anymore are already happening. Right. And
the uncertainty is really scary. We always fear what we don't know the most, and uncertainty falls into that category. So it can be a scary time.
Yeah.
It just all reinforces what we talk about all the time, which is like hard to predict. You can't play the game. You just like, none of us are sophisticated enough to like really make the moves that are going to make huge differences. So you evaluate this thing from a different perspective.
Right.
And that perspective is like, we're talking real estate. So it's a good time to buy, it's a good time to sell. What it is, if it makes sense for you.
That's right.
And you can find the conditions that work for you.
That's the best time to buy.
Holy cow, you just have no control over it. You can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, the bottom line is that, if you have any questions about this, because we know it's very confusing, we're more than happy to sit down and give you a free consultation as to what your best options. Me and Mike are doing it all the time now.
Sure.
Where we're talking to people about what's their best option. And there's no option that's best for us. It's what's best for the customer. And we just figure it out. And they usually walk away very satisfied no matter what the answer is, because they know they got real information that they can use and don't feel like there's an agenda behind the information they're getting.
And we're really strong in telling you what your options are, right? And which could include like, hey, you don't really have any options right now, so think about that, and maybe you got to do some of this stuff to get into the point where you will have options.
Yeah, to position yourself for some options.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of mystery to what can you do, even if you wanted to. And so we can answer those questions for you, whether you're on the sell side or the buy side, right? The sell side's easy for me because it's like, here's that's very easy to say, here's where you stand right now. If you wanted to sell right now, if you want to sell in 6 months? I don't know. I can't really tell you what it's going to be, but right now, if you did it, here's what it would look like. Does that make sense for whatever your next step is? Right. And it's that consultation's easy. If you're a buyer, here's what you can do right now. You can start being active in the market if you want to, or you can decide after you know what you can or can't do, you can decide when you want to make that move. So just like those consultations are helpful because you need information to position yourself one way or the other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Power.
Hey, I know we only got like 2 minutes left. I just want to say 2 really quick things. I forgot some other shout outs I just want to throw out. We just put a brand new house on the market. Let me tell you, it's great. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home. It's got a new roof, new impact windows, new flooring, new kitchen, new bathroom, new paint.
Nice.
I mean, it's Mac Daddy. It's in a great area of Boynton Beach. And we have it on the market at $575, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, fully renovated pool home for under $600,000 in Palm Beach County. It's pretty good. It's at $575. If you want to find out about that property, just give us a call. We'd love to talk to you about it.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
There was one other person, and I can't remember because it just popped into my head, and I can't remember. Oh, Richard. I wanted to say, Richard, thank you for allowing us to, we helped short sell a house back in only like 4 years ago. It was my last short sale I've ever done. I helped Richard short sell a property. Then I helped him buy a new property in Lake Park. He uses an investment. And now we're going to be selling that property. So, Richard, thank you for hiring us to sell your property.
Yeah, fantastic. We hear that music. That means that we are officially done with our 2 hours of infotainment on a Saturday. We'll be back at it next Saturday. I see Greek and Joe in the locker room, or excuse me, in the bullpen there, getting ready for the locker room.
Yeah. Talk a little sports. Got some NBA and NHL playoffs going on. And I think there's a race or something going on. 2 races going on this weekend that are kind of important. A little Formula One down there at Hard Rock. And then, of course, we got the Derby out in Kentucky.
Well, don't forget about the Snooker World Championship.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Yep. Happening right now.
I feel bad that I even did forget about that. Be sure to bring that out, Jimothy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A third hour or two, we're getting into badminton. since you can
Beautiful.
get into that on the Hard Rock app if you want to put a couple shekels on that.
I'm all about it. Just go with the favorites, man. Just go with the favorites.
favorites. Yeah.
Parlay them together. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised.
I saw pillow fighting on ESPN last weekend.
Yeah, that was
Pillow fighting.
On the Ocho.
I mean, it was on whatever one of the regular DirecTV, ESPN 1, 2, whatever, in that little
Pornhub
channel,
I think that's
maybe on there too.
Pornhub.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a pillow.
Yeah, that sounds like a porno channel to me.
Sorry, I got them mixed up.
Cornhole pillow fighting.
Did
On
he say
the Ocho.
corn hub?
Cornhole, yeah.
Nice. We are done with our portion. As always, we thank you very much for being with us. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. You get all the pros, a team of professionals at the one-stop real estate shop that is FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives with the professionals at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Ross Komarinetz, Brightway Insurance, Juno Beach. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too, Johnny C, and everybody here.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do my best. Mike Rauch, who giggles when I say change lives. Mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. You don't think you can impact lives like that?
We do. We
Yeah.
do all the time.
Big time.
Absolutely. Yes.
Massively.
Love to.
Thanks for having your fingerprints all over it.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Yeah, you do the same. And Jimmy D, changing lives. He doesn't giggle. He's like, yeah, it's facts. We do that.
I just realized I have the wrong lockbox on a house. I got to go down
Oh, boy.
and take care of it right away as soon as
Oh,
we're done. Yep.
well,
Emergency time.
Add that to the list.
Yep.
Have a great weekend.
Okay,
Jimmy
good.
Paul.
Okay. Happy South Florida, everybody.
Thank
Have
you,
a good weekend.
Jimothy.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
great weekend. We will see you next Saturday.
Yeah, enjoy your weekend, Sunfest, whatever you're getting into, all the festivities. Stick around. The locker room is next, and we will be back at it next Saturday. 2 hours of infotainment every Saturday right here. It's Florida Talk Real Estate on Real Radio.